We'll just start, but just make it casual. We're starting to record.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Perry.
Hi, Scott. Is a nice t-shirt?
Yeah, I finally got by slow boat from China, actually Thailand. I got this shirt, I think, in about 3 weeks. See, it says Thailand right on it. I told Perry I'd wear this tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? Next week, I will give one away for my audience too, but not the same style, different style.
Okay.
From me.
So I'm just showing that it says Thailand on there for all you fans in Thailand. I'm wearing this shirt gift from Perry. See, right there. There it is.
Nice.
And I may lean forward. They may not see it through the whole show, but if they watch the beginning of it, they will see it.
And
let me ask you, how was your week? How was your whole week over there in the other part of the world on planet Earth?
it's okay talking about weather. I mean, maybe 2 days were nice weather, but the rest rain and cloudy.
You going to get the monsoon season?
Maybe, but because this year all year long, hardly have sun, not very nice weather like we used to have.
So mostly cloudy, like living in Washington State, huh? It's always cloudy and rainy.
It's not normal. It's not normal.
Up there, that's pretty normal, but down here we actually got some rain. Hadn't had any all year. From a hurricane that came up through Baja, and then we got some clouds, and then it rained for about an hour. Then it stopped, then it rained for another hour real hard, and then it just went away. We probably got about 3 inches. Over there in Thailand, the weather's weird, huh?
Becoming weird now.
That's global warming for you. Some people are so funny. Global warming come up and bite them right in the rear end. Flood their house. I mean, Bangladesh and a lot of the low-lying areas of India are already flooded from the rising sea levels. So they've been pushed off the coast there, flooded out their territory. Many years ago, you used to see in National Geographic magazine all these beautiful glaciers in Switzerland and Canada and the United States. Most of them are melted now. They're not there anymore. They don't exist. That's okay. World change is okay. But this global warming is caused by 7.5 billion people using fuels on aircraft and boats and in the military that affect the upper atmosphere. And that changes the CO2 level in the upper atmosphere, and it keeps infrared from going back into space. So it heats up. Global warming heats up, but it changes worldwide weather patterns, and sea currents start to shift. That's not good in the long run and then it becomes an ice age after that. We're not going to worry about that because we got some friends from out of town dealing with the problems people have caused on this planet unconsciously, because they really collectively don't care enough yet. They're not awake enough yet to want to take care of their own environment. The beings I work with on other planets do not have polluted atmospheres or waters, ground tables, no radioactivity, none of this. They got rid of that a long time ago. And they knew how to get rid of it. So it will be really beneficial for people on Earth when more openly we can receive their assistance to clean up this place, because they have the technology to do it. They could do it in a day.
Scott, and how about that tsunami?
The what?
The tsunami in Indonesia,
What about, what in Indonesia?
Tsunami, tsunami.
Oh, tsunami.
Yeah. What happened over there?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
It's natural, right?
You mean the tsunami that happened in Japan?
No, in Indonesia, maybe the beginning of this week.
I didn't see anything about it. I don't watch the news. I didn't see anything on the news. Probably if I watched BBC TV or British Broadcasting or something, which they air in this country, I would have seen worldwide news, but I was too busy. So there was a tsunami in Indonesia, and what did it do?
From what I know, like 800 people died, 850, but the numbers of dead may change again by now. I don't know.
What's odd about this to me, in New Orleans and in the southern coast states, around the Gulf Coast, between the western side of Florida and the Gulf of Texas and New Orleans and all those southern states, Baja, the part of Mexico. They know every year there's going to be hurricanes. And every year it destroys a lot of property. And every year the same people go right back to their homes and rebuild in the same place. And then they get killed or wiped out the next year and go, why me, God? But what's odd is that people will not move. They stay where they are. They rebuild where they are. They face the same danger. I suppose it's courageous, but you cannot predict or control weather, even if there was no chemtrails ever sprayed and there wasn't any CO2 in the upper atmosphere or global warming. The world would still have weather patterns that shift or change periodically. Tornadoes would happen, hurricanes, volcanoes. This stuff's been going on for millions of years on this planet. The difference between then and now is that we have a worldwide communication, instantaneous communication. So when anything takes place anywhere, everybody knows about it and they begin to think it's happening on every corner. It does happen. Well, come on in. Starlight knows the show started, so he wants to come in and put in his 2 cents. Come here, let's do this.
Every time, yes.
Oh, yes, he would never forget.
Hello, Starlight.
You're going to face the camera a little bit or just look in my ear? What you know? There you go.
Hello.
Here's Perry.
Hello, Starlight. Remember, we met yesterday?
Oh, he knows you. He's just taking it all in, giving a little snapshot pictures for Torelli, and it's just kind of with Torelli, and that's what he does. He's very, very wide awake and very astute right now. Very tuned in.
Okay, he is so calm.
Yes, okay. You going to tune into the show then and go hang out in the background? Okay. There you go. All right, so we got Starlight on board. Yes, you can be part of it. You're always part of it. Sure. What I like about Starlight is that he is an Atma, a spherical shaped being just like the rest of us, soul, and runs this kitty body, but he's extremely advanced. He can soul travel, he can get out of his body, he can do out-of-body travel. I meet him often in the higher planes from here, and he shows up. He knows how to do it.
What I ask, like you said, animal has Atma too, right? How about like small animals, like insects, worms, ants? Do they have Atma too?
They generally have a kind of an individual Atma running a whole mass of them.
Oh. Okay.
And you'd say, well, who would want to do that and why? Well, there's a lot of beings in the universe that are not very conscious about going about what they do. They've just been doing it forever, so they just don't think about it. But it doesn't have to be the way it is. Everybody thinks that this Earth is an example of what other worlds are like. It's not true. You think there are 50,000 kinds of mosquitoes and bugs and stuff on other planets? Everybody just assumes arrogantly that our planet must be, everything else is like that, but that's not true. Earth is particularly mixed up with too many species of too many varieties, from microscopic, which will compete with human bodies and try to kill you, to passive and vicious animals, sea life, both passive and vicious, more mammalian species than you can count, more birds than you can count, more insects than you can count, being found more all the time in the Amazon and the Congo jungles. All this stuff did not evolve on this planet. No planet produces that much variety of conflicting life. People on Earth just assume this is normal, but it isn't. It's not. I mean, you can't blame people for thinking that way, because what else have they been taught since they were born? They don't know anything else. So, they don't know anything else. So when they walk around and think about outer space and other people and other dimensions, they just project the very mixed up conditions of Earth out into the universe. And incorrectly assume everything must be like this here. People have been so closed down, they think, I wonder if there's life on other planets. How arrogant is that? I mean, it's not intentionally arrogant, but that's pretty silly. One ball of dirt in the third orbit of a planet around the sun with many worlds, billions of stars in one galaxy, and they're so closed down that they have to think about whether there's life out there. That is done deliberately to keep people unaware of their own potential and capabilities to know things. It makes people stay in doubt so they cannot look beyond what they're told and fed by teachers and universities that are not classified, who themselves don't know and only work with theories they were taught. And the news media puts out the same kind of garbage, and people sit around and go, gee, I wonder if there's this, and I don't know if there's that. And this is the condition of most people on Earth, because they don't really have the opportunity to have real experience to know for themselves. And they're meant to, they're supposed to be doing that. My work and the beings I work with, not native to this planet, that were never born here, were never trapped in galactic history, never put on Earth unaware and made to forget everything, like everyone on Earth has been, do not look at the world and the universe the same way as we do. They have relationships with hundreds of millions of other world systems. And people have asked all the time, why don't they come and land and show themselves? What they do, and they have. But the governments on this planet have classified this at the highest level, not to tell the mass of people what they know about extraterrestrials, especially after World War II. When the National Security Act was established under Truman, so they could classify things and not tell the public, so they could do their research on extraterrestrial technology they acquired or found crashed or whatever. They were in competition with other world powers, and yet 35 countries in the world agreed to close this or classify this from all their people after World War II, to help people be encouraged to rebuild a damaged and destroyed world, to have babies, to feel confident that their countries and militaries could protect them. Truth of the matter is, in World War II, when Eisenhower was president, the guy got to meet with both tyrant and kind extraterrestrials in secret. Scared him, because he realized there were big races out there coming here, particularly because they were concerned about us setting off nuclear weapons. And they're not tyrants, so they aren't going to force their will on us. Tyrant extraterrestrials would force their will on anyone if they could get away with it. This planet has been under a treaty for 500,000 years, a neutral territory, in which neither good races or tyrant races were allowed to dominate it, which is the only reason it's not controlled or run by someone else off planet. That kind of a treaty is broken through a type of Cold War ever since it was written. Breaking it by tyrants always short of going to another galactic war, because there hasn't been one in 500,000 years in our galaxy. No big war, but there was a very disastrous one back then. So I guess the real question for people beyond Earth has been, not that they were ever threatened. They couldn't be threatened by tyrant technology, let's put it that way, because they had better technology and they won that war against tyrants. They didn't go and destroy anybody. They didn't go bomb their home worlds when they won. They just set up a treaty and everybody started to rebuild. Back in the time the National Security Act was created, it was also agreed at the time amongst a certain secretive group of people to just fully disclose to the public of this world what they knew about extraterrestrials coming here. And they thought at the time they would do that when they felt it was safe to do that for the populace, when they wouldn't riot and go crazy in the streets. Well, that time is long past. People now are more sophisticated. They've seen movies from Hollywood about extraterrestrials, good and bad, all kinds of scenarios, TV episodic episodes about them and all that kind of thing, Star Trek, and you name it. So people on Earth are prepared to handle it. But it's the classified arena of people and elite people on this planet who thought it's best they keep it a secret for themselves and not tell the rest of the people because they couldn't get the world to rebuild itself after World War II. And people would have been scared that our militaries can't protect them. And they would have been correct. Had someone really come here with their technology, they could have beaten this planet to a pulp in a day. But that has never been allowed to happen, and it's never going to be allowed to happen. So when you're working with benevolent beings, their biggest problem was to figure out how to neutralize evil or negative tendencies and subconscious drives in tyrant spacefaring races, the few of them that were out there. Majority of them out there are kind and benevolent, and they work together. There are a few that are still royal family, bloodline, tyrant type of races. They're not really a threat in the galactic war. They're sore losers, and they did have a foothold on this planet illegally. And their nature would be, if they were kicked off by force, they would blow this planet up. That would kill everybody. So that kind of problem had to be solved first. That's been solved. There were two tyrant extraterrestrial bases on this planet, one in the Brazilian jungle underground and one in the Congo jungle in Africa underground. And what they were and who they were and what they had there had to first be dealt with before they could be sent home. So they're no longer influencing things here. People now are suffering from subconscious programming they don't even know they have. And so they remain in doubt, and they don't know what they are. They don't remember that they're supposed to be able to leave their bodies at will while they're alive, not wait till they die, till the body dies. All kinds of things like that. Being able to look into the multidimensional universe and other worlds right from home through the creative imagination, which works through the pineal gland, the center of the brain. But it's not the brain or the eyes of the physical body that see this stuff, ever. It's the being, the real person who's running the brain and the body, which is a spherical shaped energy we call Atma in other worlds. People call it soul, but if you ask a person what soul looks like, they don't really know on Earth. They don't know who they are, what they really are. They think they're a body. And so they're very frightened that if the body dies, they're going to die. And they don't know what's true or what isn't. They have faith. They're supposed to believe in faith without experience. It's been my direct experience in working with beings from other worlds and beings from higher realities that they do not work with faith or belief. They start out that way, but the way they are able to begin to understand how the universe really works, the source behind everything, themselves as a being, when they're kids, when they're children. So they grow up in a completely different way with a different exposure to truth than we get on this planet. So when they're adults, let's take an example of a human race like us, little bigger eyes, on other worlds out by the Pleiades alone, out beyond those stars. And just take one. Now, a human being on those worlds can live often 1,000 years or more. They don't age like we do because they know the science of it. The telomeres on the DNA, every time the body produces another cell or duplicates itself, the telomere shrinks a little bit. And this is called aging, and it keeps shrinking. On other worlds, they know how to keep the telomere from shrinking, so the body actually does not age, at least not for a very, very long time. And when the body comes time to be put aside for them, they step out of it and stop it working. And then it's just demolecularized. It's not even put in the ground, buried. The being goes on to other things or goes and is prepared for another body, and they get into it. They can run it from outside while the body's growing up. They don't lose consciousness of who they are while they're running a baby body or a young body. That's the difference, big difference from people on Earth. It's huge. They don't have a fear of death, never have. They don't think about it. That's not their concern. Their concern is how to produce and create new ways of doing things that will be of benefit to the people on their worlds and all the worlds that they deal with for the benefit of all. They're not selfish. They don't just produce new things and new technologies for their own planet. That's not how the Galactic Alliance, the Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds works, which is a huge organization of world systems beyond this planet, centered toward the central nucleus of the Milky Way galaxy. And there's another organization of even more vast world systems 180 degrees on the other side of the galaxy who are working together, which means the whole galaxy is unified in this way, except for people on Earth, unfortunately. Earth, because of the way people are, because they don't know, they're in fear all the time subconsciously, they're prone to be destructive to each other, to lash out because they're afraid. They think this is normal, but it isn't. It's not normal to be in fear of anything. Negative emotions are artificially created, did not originate on this planet, and were implanted in an artificially created subconscious domain. And I guess what I'm sharing with people is normal beings in the universe do not have a subconscious mind at all. If it's subconscious, there can be things in it you don't know what's there that influence you, obviously. So it's not a good thing. My work is largely about assisting people to be co-creatively active in getting this stuff gone. They learn how to become dominant over any form of negativity. They learn how to channel an energy that not only protects them, but changes the consciousness of subconsciously negatively misdirected people and things in life around them. Very important. It's like the 100th monkey story, you know. Like off Japan, there are 2 islands that have monkeys on them, and people feed them in the winter and bring back crates of fruit and stuff like that. And on one island, you know, the fruit would get in the sand, and the monkeys would eat around the fruit that's sand. And then somehow one of the pieces of fruit got out of one of these crates and got into the water and got washed off. And the monkey could eat the whole thing. So that monkey started washing fruit after that. And the monkeys on an island that have no connection with each other started doing the same thing. They picked up on it telepathically because the Atmas that run the monkey bodies are also telepathic. Atmas are telepathic, not bodies, the beings. So this is what happens on a world and out in the universe when enough beings collectively out there begin to move in one direction for the benefit of all life. They begin to retire this experiment of evil, this subconscious negative driven good and bad stuff. And it's being replaced with something which actually works. That's taking place out in the galaxy. And it's moving in one direction, and it's focused right through this planet on its way. There is no negative technology or beings anywhere in creation that can prevent this or interfere with it or manipulate it or control it. It's not coming this way for anyone's destruction. It's coming this way to liberate people from this foolish nonsense that's being done on this world and has been for so long. And not just on Earth, but other worlds as well. So, with that said, we can go into one of the techniques that I share with people that involves the vibration of the first sound behind all creation. And when human beings do it in any language, doesn't matter whether Chinese or African or Congolese or Thai or English or Spanish or Telemedian or Oceanian or people from other worlds, galactic standard, whatever it is, this HU sound, this whole tone, made up of 2 letters in English, HU, but the sound is the same in any language for any race, HU. It vibrates the pineal gland in the center of the brain. It's set up to do this. It always has been. For billions of years beyond what people can remember. And when you start to work with it, it begins to vibrate certain things and bring about the reverse of negative influences within the being. That's what it does. The HU expansion ray in it that recently was brought into creation, as it moves through beings, tyrants as well, It liberates them from subconscious drives that make them terrified to be tyrants and inspires in them to create only that which will be of uplifting benefit to all life. It's very simple. I would have to say that a vast majority of beings in our galaxy and other dimensions fairly recently became aware and were filled with this new ray in the hue. The new ray is blended into the hue. The hue is the omnipresent energy field. It's not protons and electrons and neutrons. It's finer than that. That connects everything in creation together, the void of space, other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions, higher realities, parallel dimensions. It runs through the whole thing. There's an energy at the source of all things that we as individual beings are made of. What people think of as the supreme being or the source is comprised of an energy that we are comprised of. It's identical in every way. That's why we're considered to be eternal, as spherical energies that can move around, run bodies, get in and out of the body, go see things. This is the kind of thing we do in some sessions we have in these radio shows. Do things at a beginning stage to assist people to get their body in the trance state we call sleep. The same thing they do when they put it to bed at night, no different. Except when we do this, we're getting the body to go into this trance state while we're fully conscious. And then we go and explore. While they're aware of the physical body in this serene trance state, peacefully, then they're out seeing and knowing things again. This is how we exercise higher faculties that have been suppressed to resurface, to come to consciousness. And we do it so that people can get conditioned and get used to using them again, because most people on Earth haven't used these higher faculties for many lifetimes, because they've been compulsively compelled to reincarnate here with no memory over and over again. This was something that was done to beings through a diabolical misuse of science long ago in galactic history. This also means that human beings on Earth and every race, no human race or human body or human form ever evolved on this planet. Ever. Human beings did not come out of the primordial sea as fish and walk on land or any of that. Human beings evolved several billion years ago in other galaxies and were brought here over many different scenarios in more than 50 million years since the dinosaurs were made extinct. There's a history of civilizations on this planet that have come and gone because of the polar shifts that have happened here cyclically every 100,000 years. And that's been brought to an end permanently, very recently, so the planet can stabilize and continue to move forward, like other worlds do. People in the past would bring people and civilizations here, like Lemuria, build it up for 100,000 years, and then they know the poles would flip and they leave, or tyrants would leave their human slaves in some parts of the world behind, and if anybody survived, they were placed into a state of savagery, and they'd have to just develop from scratch everything all over again. The races in the galaxy were not able to interfere with the populaces of tyrants who brought them here to do dirty work like mining. It was under treaty. People understand how treaties work on Earth, and they know what kind of a trap that is. You sign a treaty with a tyrant, you know they're going to break it. You sign a treaty because you want to rebuild worlds, and you let them do the same. Today, that kind of treaty would not be signed with any race in the galaxy. They no longer do things that way. So if there are tyrants out there wanting to exploit and dominate and take over other people and their properties, they're prevented from doing that through a policing operation in the galaxy. So a lot of people don't know because they've never been allowed to remember it or know it growing up on this planet. So when I say this stuff to people and they read it or they hear it or they go through it and review this recording of this radio show, it begins to stimulate them that somehow they used to know this stuff. Because when I work on these shows, it's telepathic. I'm not just giving them data and information to entertain them. That's not why I do this. They want to get entertained, they can go watch a movie at the theater and pay $12 to go see it. This is not what this is about. It's far beyond anything like that, because we get involved in utilizing correctly the creative imagination. I don't mean anything you can imagine in your brain, because the brain is not capable of imagining anything anyway. That's a function, an organ to run the body, through which the being runs through the billion neuron circuits to run things. It's not a place of thought or the mind. It comes from another dimension. So do emotions. People on Earth have no idea this is taking place. So how are they supposed to be wise enough to reason how to get around the universe when they can't remember anything like that? So it's important that they begin to remember things like that. And people who are in the know, either on Earth or from other worlds, are in a process now of helping to transform this world from working in the background to non-destructive ways. Okay, when I begin this hue, people who are listening can do it with me in the privacy of their own home. They can be in a car, laying in a field of grass, sitting by the ocean, lying on the bed, sitting in a chair. It's important that they get relaxed and take several deep breaths. And when they exhale, they're putting all their fears and concerns for their life, how old they are, health problems, money problems, world governments, nuclear war, chemtrails, all that negative stuff, bad ETs, good ETs. They're sticking it on a shelf in their background, in their imagination. This is an act of will, true free will. And they don't realize they can do this, so they don't do it. But it's really the same kind of thing you do when you imagine a woman, a waterfall, a butterfly, the beach, the mountains. Anybody can do that. You know, close their eyes and imagine an apple or a tree or a forest. So, but people know how to do this, but they don't know what to do with it. It just sits there idly. They just imagine stuff and they think it's fantasy. They think they're making it up in their brain, and that's the problem. They aren't. The brain is not capable of seeing things. It has no motion picture in it, and a motion picture projector and a big motion picture screen through which to visualize stuff. It's actually the being with higher faculties, not the body or the brain, that is seeing things when you imagine something. What's happening is the person's actually unconsciously looking out into the multidimensional universe and seeing stuff in all kinds of realities. And then, particularly at night when they wake up the body in the morning, they bring back often scrambled stuff that doesn't make any sense. That happens when people take fear and fear of the future and anything negative to bed with them at night before they go to sleep. What's wrong with that is when you leave the body at night, because everyone does, there's a field of energy that surrounds the sphere, the soul of a being, through which they see distorted images. They're called implants. They're not in the physical body. And they go with you when you leave the body at night. When they're shut off, you can see in the universe and you have higher faculties to know things. And if you can shut them off before you leave, you can bring back more awareness of what you're doing at night when you leave the body. Anyone can do this, but they have to be aware of it, conscious of it, because it takes the exercising of their true higher faculties to do this. Even if they've been suppressed, they can be recovered, recalled, remembered, awakened, enlightened. So when someone takes childlike wonder, despite everything in their life, intentionally into the dream state at night, or into a special spiritual exercise or contemplation or meditation, and they set aside all these negative things, just temporarily, because they'll take them back when they come back, and then they go into the hue, it shuts down all those programs. So a person can go out and see what I'm describing and explore, and bring back that episode, that session with them to Earth when they open their eyes. It's the same thing they would do if they woke up and remembered a dream clearly, except we're doing a lot more than that. And that has an effect on, in time, on the dreams being able to recall more clearly, because they aren't dreams. They're not being made up by the mind. Beings are bringing back either whole or scrambled what they're doing when they're out of their body at night. And everybody leaves their body at night when they go to sleep. Everyone. Because that's true, you can imagine how backward and shut down this planet is when people don't know what it is they're doing. So, I also practice what I put out through direct experience. So I take the deep breaths. I put the same stuff, anything that concerns me at all, any negative emotion, on a shelf aside from who I am. And then I go in and start to guide people in these sessions, which means I have to be able to have my body in a trance state we call sleep and still be conscious enough, fully conscious, to be able to guide people on these journeys. Because I have to speak, and it's really telepathic. And then they can see things out in the universe that they don't remember, they knew how to do before. And they can visualize what these places are like. There's a principle that's very important here. There's an old saying, you can only have as much of God as you can imagine, no more, no less. It's reciprocal. This underlying current is a living energy force behind all life, and it responds to what we imagine in it, good or bad. So we better be putting really neat things in there if we really want to make advancements and wake up as beings and recover all we used to know. Particularly, we want to recover direct knowing perception. This is the ability to know things with certainty, without doubt, without fear, without speculation, without theory. When you know, you really know. And there's confidence that goes with that. And there's a protection that goes with working with the hue and the new ray and the hue that people need to experience for themselves. I don't need the experience. I still go through strengthening it every day. But a lot of people need to understand that there is a protection, even for people on Earth. When they begin to work with it, will help them unfold and protect them at the same time. As we go deeper into these recovering of who we are, the outer life should become more balanced than it is. Not flaky and spaced out, none of that. More balanced, more ability, more calm to make things happen correctly. That's how it works, really. The energy we work with is not from the 4 lower dimensions. It isn't part of what people call the psychic, positive and negative, or those kinds of things. Those are twin energies that run through the 4 lower dimensions and in the physical universe. But beings, us, are not comprised of that positive and negative energy. We are something behind and before it. We were in existence before that was ever created. Why? Because as Atmas, we aren't made of matter. We are energy, but not as it's known on Earth. Waking up, the experiences of knowing what we are as a being, as soul, what people from other worlds call the Atma, is incredibly enlightening, because you begin to remember what it is you are that isn't the physical body, that you've always been. And you begin to work from that knowing experiential state of awareness, even on Earth here. Now what that does is, when you're conscious of it, it allows this new ray in you to flow through you, through your physical form, out into the world, to be a benefit to everything here. We're working with many billions of other beings to create this, what you call this 100th monkey thing, so that it happens telepathically, exponentially on Earth, until it covers the whole planet, and it changes. It's happened in other worlds before. What's taking place on this planet is new, because the way it's being done has not happened before. They're retiring this experiment of evil that's billions of years old, this negative positive thing that traps beings on the lower dimensions, and replacing it with that energy which motivates people to only create that which will be of uplifting benefit to all life. That means a person has to create for the benefit of all life, not just in their city, not just their country, for the whole planet, and then for the whole universe. and then for the dimensions above this known universe. And that is the natural capability and destiny of every single human being, whether they know it or not. So you see, we really have a very lofty destiny now and in the future to co-create with the source, people call the Supreme Being, in ways that can be trusted to be benevolent and beneficial to all life. That is the key to freedom. There's no shortcut for it. We have to create intentionally, consciously, for the good of all life. We can't think so small as to do it just for our planet, with the idea of going out in space, conquering other worlds, and mining and taking their resources. That is never going to happen, ever. Classified people and hidden government on this planet, they know that now. They can't go out in space with a classified system and nuclear weaponry and advanced weapons with the idea of going out and taking over territory out there, because space is already occupied by far more advanced races. It's a fact. So if we want to play with them, they'll give us all the technology they have as long as we can be trusted with it. Clean up the environment, set people free, get rid of engrams, implants, subconscious minds, any of it. Cure diseases, no problem. But we have to be, we can't be like we are on this planet now, enjoying the rest of the galaxy properly. So there is things underway now to create a complete and total disclosure on this planet. But it's being motivated from off planet, because people on Earth collectively in separate governments won't do it in time to avoid destroying themselves. There are beings out there that aren't going to tolerate that, whether we want to do it or not, especially nuclear war, because we don't have the right to radiate this planet and affect parallel dimensions and hundreds of billions of other sentient life in parallel realities in other worlds we don't even know. People on Earth don't even know exist. We have no right to do that. And the races out there aren't going to tolerate it. It's because of that one thing that's kept us from annihilating ourselves with nuclear war since World War II ended. They have been intervening here. Not as tyrants, but in ways to begin to make this change practical and non-destructive. So far, the destruction you see on this planet to people in ignorance to each other has been done by the people on this world. There are no more tyrants operating secretly behind closed doors on this planet. They've been sent home. This means that what's left is these subconscious fear and terrorizing drives in people that make them destructive. And those have to go if people are going to recover being normal. I've made this comparison before. To a normal human couple on another planet, many of which I know, if they walked up to you on the street, on this world, they would appear to be like spiritual masters energetically to people here. And yet to them, they're just normal. So you see, people really have a lot of elevated vibration and understanding and energy experiences to go through yet to become normal, because they once were. It's a very hard thing, I suppose, to get across to people on Earth that they once knew what I'm talking about and that it was taken from them. They did not give their consent. That's a hard thing to deal with. But until people can do that, they're not going to advance. Until people can confront truth, real ancient history of this planet, real ancient history of the galaxy, where they really came from before this lifetime, who they really are, until they can confront that honestly, they're not going to advance or wake up. It's required. So we're doing everything we can to help people to be able to make that leap. It's just that simple. What is underway now is for the benefit of all life, including tyrants. Because they're only tyrants because they're more terrified than other people, and they act to dominate because of that terror. And they're destructive. But they really can't help it. So you see, they need some assistance too, because what was done to them was done to them more diabolically than was done to you or me or the rest of the people on this planet. The only reason they could act in a more tyrant manner is because some really nasty thing was done to them as beings, sooner or later, somewhere. The more understanding people have of this fact, the better off they're going to be, and the more liberated they're going to be from being the effect of anything negative in this world. So when I go into the hue and go up these tones, it's designed to be of benefit to the listeners, to shut off these subconscious negative impulses so they can begin to experience a little bit of what they used to know how to do. And that brings confidence back into the world, and it begins to neutralize doubt and fear and terror and speculation and theory and debate and all that negative stuff. It's very important. Okay. I'm going to start this hue. People can do it with me or just listen or do it silently without doing out loud, and it will work. Okay, Perry has shut off her mic because I'm recording it from my end of the world, and we get a better recording result when there's not feedback from Mike. So when we're done chatting about things, then we'll go into this guided session. I also get friendship and guidance from Ambassador Torellian. Torellian is an 18-foot tall, if he had a physical body, when he manifested, it's 18 feet or so. They are human, but billions of years old. We, as human beings on Earth, get our DNA as patterned after them long ago. So do other bipedal, upright walking races, even tyrants out in our galaxy. Got an original upliftment for the body forms that Atmas run from them. Torellian is an ambassador from that race, several billion years old. And he is someone that I work with that goes with us on these journeys to kind of protect things, sometimes guide things, sometimes he and I guide things together. It's fun, it's just for the benefit of people. So when I bring him up, know that he is a spherical energy being, just like you are. And although he is very ancient, extremely wise, and far more capable in many areas than we are, he does not lord this over anyone. He does not think of us as less than he is. Because he knows that people suppressed on Earth have great potential to be co-creators with the supreme source of all things. They know that, the beings I work with, and they're surprised, even amazed, that they grew up on worlds that were never implanted. They don't have subconscious minds. They have photographic memories. They're telepathic. This is normal to them. And they're amazed that beings like us can go on trips like this, having lived in a planet like this. It's really amazing to them. So they learn from us about strength and courage and all kinds of things. And we learn from them. Okay. I'm going to begin to send out this telepathic tone. It's designed to stimulate your ability to connect to the core of your being, which is not the mind or the body, but you, the real you, and then to the center of all that exists. A direct link without intermediaries. This begins the process of reversing the entire journey into the lower worlds, fear, evil, all that kind of thing. Begins to recover in the individual their true nature. And this process, when it begins, is not reversible. Fortunately for all of us who must still live on this planet for now. Okay, here we go. You. There are beings not from Earth who are doing this with us. They do it all the time. It's normal for them. They understand it. They know what it connects them to. It makes them conscious. And it keeps them from ever acquiring or being part of acquiring a subconscious anything. This vibration begins to raise the energy so the being can be more conscious about seeing and knowing things again in the grand multidimensional creation. It's quite large. Our planet Earth, third planet from one sun, in one solar system, in one galaxy, is one of many hundreds of billions of galaxies in just this parallel dimension of the physical universe. There are 144 parallel dimensions, slightly higher vibrations of matter. So the physical universe is much bigger and multi-layered than people understand, usually. The astral plane, what people call the next major division, upper world dimension, is much larger than the physical universe, and so forth up the scale. These places are all energy, connected by energy from the hue. It is this energy field and the beings called the silent mentors or silent ones who maintain the mechanics of creation, keep the galaxy spinning, suns brightly lit, so forth and so on. Doorways between parallel and higher dimensional realities, guarded and protected, so forth. So they're really beings who are not matter behind the creation. And we are the same way. Only on Earth, people have been made to forget all this. You're never going to get away from being an eternal being, no matter what you do. How suppressed you make yourself, what tyrants have done to you to make yourself think or imagine in limited and trapping ways on planet Earth. It is the imagination that liberates or imprisons beings. Tyrants know how to get beings put through a process so they forget not only their higher faculties, but use their own energy, their source of their being, from the source itself, against themselves. The hue begins to reverse that. The new ray in it is designed to retire those kinds of negative things and neutralize them. The energy that's freed in the process becomes yours to utilize for the good of all life. This is important to say to you all telepathically before we go on any guided journey, because you'll carry this awareness with you. Wherever you are, if you have been listening and you've been relaxing, closing your eyes and getting comfortable, putting your body in the trance state we call sleep, partially by listening to my voice, but also because you're imagining it. And you do it at night when you put the body to sleep every night, but you're not aware of what you're doing. You do that because when you get restful and quiet, this hue will cause the pineal gland to secrete melatonin, create serotonin, which put the body in the trance state we call sleep to keep the heart working, lungs working on automatic while you, the being, are gone. This is what really takes place. What we're doing in this process is leaving the body in that state, but going out consciously to explore the universe at the same time. This is called bilocation, being more than one place at the same time. This just means your body's back on Earth and you're somewhere else. You're aware of your body, but you're also seeing and knowing what's going on in these guided visual explorations. A higher form of travel into the either realities is called direct projection. That just means that one moment we're here, the next moment we are wherever we see we are. This means that when you can imagine what another world looks like, when you can imagine what a higher dimension is like, when you can imagine what the dimensions above the void known to most Buddhists are like, you can go there. Because it is what you visualize that tells this omnipresent you to empower you to journey on that current to get there. And if you can't remember what places look like, how are you going to get there? Tyrants know this. So we want to help wake up the visual understanding of where these places are and what they look like in general so people can begin to explore them. Okay. Be above your body, wherever it is on Earth. Be about 500 feet in the air above it, above your building where you live, car that you're in, laying outside, under a tree, wherever you are. Night, day, middle of the night, doesn't matter. Be above your body and look around. You kind of know what it looks like from above if you can imagine it. It's like imagining a waterfall. And you do it by imagining what it's like to look down on your house and see your body sitting there peacefully, right through the roof. Now be above the planet Earth, in space, in orbit, like the space shuttle. Only you're a spherical, luminous energy, an individual Atma, an individual being or soul. And here you don't need to breathe oxygen. If you look around up here, you'll see me, another sphere, Perry, and Torellian, who's a little bit brighter than us, but not above us, and a number of other visitors who are going on this journey with us from the Galactic Alliance, men and women, but not from Earth. If you look around you now, you're not using the physical eyes, you're using the spherical energy higher faculties to perceive what's around you, to see and hear. This is called direct knowing perception. When you look into the black void of space and you see stars in the distance in every direction out here, just like you've seen in, Hubble telescope picture of other stars or galaxies, or, Hubble telescope or space shuttle taking shots of Earth from orbit, polar ice caps, oceans, land. We all know how to see that. Only you're doing it as a being from above the planet yourself. Look around and you'll see in this black void of space, it's really luminous with a white energy field. It's tiny sparkles of gold in it. This is the omnipresent first sound behind all creation, known as you. And it connects to the very source, far up in the higher worlds above the void known to most Buddhist monks. They're very disciplined. They could do this. If they work with it, they could become aware of what's above that void, and so evolve even further. This is what we want people to get. Because once they can see where to go, they can get there. You can hear a sound running through it. It sounds like you, it's a whole round tone, but it's more like thousands of men and women with perfect singing voices, singing the hue on many levels. You can hear it until it blends into one tone. And it runs through everything, connects everything, every planet, every bit of matter, every parallel dimension, higher dimensions, galaxies. Everything is connected through this primordial first sound, the first word. It is not a spoken or written word. It's a frequency, a vibration, a core, primordial vibration. And it existed before evil and good were ever made. And so have we. It is a cop-out and a misdirected way of thinking to blame everything on a Satan or the devil or the bad guys, because we're all in this together. And if it's true that you are a being made of energy that existed before the lower dimensions were made, then we are responsible for this experiment of evil. And if we want to change it, bitching about it will not do it. But we can co-create with vast numbers of beings out in the galaxy from higher worlds that are underway to change this, just by knowing about it. We become channels of this new way of doing things in the hue ourselves right here on Earth, and it begins to accelerate this change. As beings on this planet, we have great potential, and we are important to the rest of the universe, whether you know it or not. The more you, or any one of us, deliberately uses the imagination not to agree with and not to indulge in fear and terror you see on the news, the more you detach yourself from that and focus on seeing a change in destiny for yourself and this planet, the better off you're going to feel, the healthier, the more childlike, wondrous things you will perceive, and the doors to eternity begin to open. It's just that simple. In the upper worlds beyond the void, there is one law. Really, it's love and do as you will, but you have to love all life. This means respect all life. The highest love isn't love like you have emotionally for someone. It is a respect for all life everywhere. To embrace the greater being you would call the supreme source, you have to be able to imagine and work with and understand the multidimensional creation. It is required. All Atmas, whether they know it on Earth or not, are capable of comprehending not only the supreme being and the source, but everything between it and us as well. This can't be done in a human brain, but that's the spherical energy you really are. It can be. We are above the planet, looking at this field of energy running through everything, and we're going to be traveling on it in a moment. Wherever you are on Earth, consider yourself to be a floating sphere of light among many, hundreds, surrounding Terrellian. This is only for a focus of organization so we can all go somewhere together. It doesn't mean we're above anybody or lording anything over anyone or being superior or any of that nonsense. It's to keep things balanced and focused so we can get something done. I'm going to move out of this circle and join Turelian, and you're going to see a flash of light. And the next moment, you're going to be speeding through outer space faster than light speed. And you're going to be coming to the ice rings that surround the gas giant planet Saturn. What I want to show people here, I've taken people on the radio show here before, but they need to be aware of it. There is a mile-long, cylindrically shaped blue-gray metal spaceship here. And it's slightly flattened on top, cylindrical shaped with curved, rounded front ends, observation windows or bridge control windows on each end because it's designed to travel either way in either direction through these interdimensional doorways. This ship is capable of traveling to other galaxies. It is stationed here in the ice rings as a guardian in this quarantine solar system. It is there to protect this solar system from, it does not allow tyrant beings from other races to enter here anymore. There's several thousand personnel aboard this ship. It has a glowing blue light around it's an anti-gravity field. And in the midsection of the hull, there are 6 foot long, 4 foot high, horizontally positioned observation windows that surround the entire hull just above the midsection. You can see that it is protected inside the ice rings from this field of energy, and these ice rings that are the size of a marble to the size of a skyscraper do not hit it. We're going to go inside this ship. Remember, you are a spherical energy, not made of matter, not even like the matter that makes up this ship. And you can pass through the walls, the metallic walls of this vehicle quite easily. So Turelian and I are going to escort all of you inside this ship, just forward of the midsection. It's a mile long. And we're going to go into a greeting room, a great lounge. And you're going to find yourself appear there as if you have feet, as if you have a body. But this is an energy projection of what you look like on Earth. Your body's on Earth, it's not here. This is a projection you're making from the sphere. And the beings on the craft will see you when you appear in this lounge with all of us. They're prepared, they know you're coming. They're very kind, they're very advanced. Many of them are men and women who are human, humanoid, and some other races. They're all kind, they're all very advanced, they know who they are. They know who they are as spherical Atmas, just like we are experiencing. And they'll greet us. The commanders of this particular ship are a husband and wife team. They come from far into behind what people call the Pleiades in our solar system. Not in our solar system, rather, but out in part of our galaxy. And about 500 light years away or so, I think. And it's actually, they're from a world way behind the 7, what are called the 7 sisters, which are the 7 blue, hot, white young stars that you can see with the naked eye that make up the constellation people call the Pleiades. And they're from many hundreds of thousands of world systems in that area. So don't think of people from the Pleiades as 1 or 2 planets. This is not correct. We want to get our thinking off limitation and get it out in the universe, expansive. You're going to be meeting beings here from all over the galaxy that are manning this ship. You will hear a very high tone. And you'll see this male who looks to be about 38 and his wife, trim, fit, long hair, beautiful, slightly bigger than human eyes, though human. And he's got a little upside down glass, like a glass bell. He's going to tap it with a little gold hammer, and it's going to begin to ring. And it will continue to ring because it's channeling an energy through him from a golden pyramid that's positioned and stationed in the bottom of the middle of the hull of this ship. And it's connected to an energy field way up in the upper dimensions. So the new ray and the hue runs through this ship and out into the solar system, and it connects to a big floating golden pyramid device floating in the asteroid field between Mars and Jupiter, way back here on Earth, our solar system. And it's connected to 3 pyramids that have been manifested, 2 on the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans and 1 inside a mountain in Tibet. And they're connected and running. This is just some background information about what's going on here. But he's ringing this little glass crystal. And as the tone continues to ring, you're going to feel this energy flow through you as a being. You're a spherical being. You have a white central core and layers of these teardrop-shaped, self-radiant lights. Each layer from the white core goes through the rainbows of color to a violet exterior with a golden energy field around it. This is what the Atma or soul really looks like, not the human body. Each one of those little teardrop-shaped lights is a higher faculty of perception and capability. As this tone goes through you, you're going to see these little teardrops light up, a little brighter energy and knowing understanding. And as it passes through you and the physical form you have manifested here, and through all the personnel on this ship, you will see it run out into space, back to Earth, from orbit, down into your body, through the top of your head, and out into the planet until it connects around the entire world, and then continues out into space. By doing this, you're beginning to not only set yourself free, you're beginning to co-create this transformation for this world, Earth, while you're on Earth. These higher forms of creativity that change things have to be done when you're out of the body, in a higher state of capability. There's blue lush carpet on the floor, blue glass top tables, and egg-shaped white blue cushioned chairs all through this big, vast 60, 100 feet wide, 60 feet high. It's a big chamber. You can see right out the oval windows at the ice rings of Saturn and the stars in space from here. The air in this ship is very purified. It's not like air on Earth, and it has a charge to it, an energy. And although you don't have lungs here, you can feel like you're breathing it in and breathing it out. Each of you that are on this trip will see a man and a woman approach you. And they'll smile, and they'll tell you something telepathically, like they knew you, or they know who you are, they found you, or they'll help you if you ask, if you give them permission. They're not tyrants, so this is required. I'm going to be silent for a few moments so you can just experience whatever it is you imagine. Remember, imagination is seeing and knowing. It's not made up back on Earth. It's not coming from the human body. You can still hear that tone from that little glass chime that this commander has rung. It's continuing to ring. One thing you have to all understand, and you'll find it out from your own experience, is there is nothing of any negative nature whatsoever in the hue or in the new ray in the hue. This is energy that is and has always been before the experiment of evil was ever created. And this is what we're working with now. The first sound, the first word, the first impulse that brought everything into creation. And we all had a part in that. Just because you don't remember this doesn't mean you didn't, and that you weren't, and that you are not. You are. It seems that Turellian would like to escort or have us. He's asked me if we should go to Zitronami, which is a planet. Zitronami is a planet near the galactic core of our galaxy. It's larger than Earth, has several other planets circling it that are inhabited, unlike our moon. And it is a central meeting place for 5,000 representatives in the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. They are from more than 500 million spacefaring races in a number of parallel dimensions in the physical universe. They have the understanding and technology to circumnavigate between these worlds on these different levels. You're going to find yourself suddenly above this ship, Turellian and all of us as spheres of energy, looking down at the ship in the ice rings of Saturn. So just telepathically send out thank you to all the people there for them allowing us and being willing to cheerfully greet us as they've done. They're busy on many missions right now dealing with the solar system and planet Earth, so they've taken time out from their schedule to see and meet with us. Up in space here, up above the planet Saturn, you're going to look out in space, and in a moment, you're going to see a whirling vortex of a white light with a gold tinge open in the fabric of space. And we're going to dart down at all of us together in one flash of light. And we're going to come out the other end, hovering in the atmosphere of Zitronami. When you look down, you'll see a crystal clear sky. You'll see oceans and lakes and mountains, a central city. We're on one particular continent. There are no polar ice caps on this world. Its weather is controlled and maintained. So that's right, they don't have hurricanes and tidal waves and tornadoes or any of that, or earthquakes. And you look down, you'll see a big white dome building surrounded by minaret-like towers, some spherical structures, and some very advanced glass-like structures that make up part of this city in a jungle-like setting. They look like a jungle, but they're not trees like on Earth. There's a certain vibration in the atmosphere here. We're in the atmosphere of this planet, just hovering there. There's a mountain range in the distance. When you look up, you can see 3 other worlds circling this planet. You can look right through the atmosphere and perceive them. We're going to down through the top of this very, very large white domed building and pass right through the outer hall of it and into a chamber. And in this chamber are like 15 tiers of marble-like seats with white leather-like chairs on them, and 5,000 people seated surrounding a white platform, a circular disc-type central stage down below. These are human and humanoid and other races from the Galactic Alliance who are aware that we are visiting with them, and they are standing to greet us. They can see us coming through the ceiling. Then you're going to find yourself experiencing a physical form. They have white robes on with a gold sash from the upper right corner to the lower hip. This just means that you're joining them as a member of the Galactic Alliance for this journey. And you're going to go down and find a series of empty seats in one row, and we're going to take our seats. You're still a spherical being, but you're manifesting the energetic form of your physical body here. Your real physical body is back on Earth. You can see that these beings are looking at us smiling. You're going to find you're smiling back, like somehow they seem like they're old friends. And then you're going to see Turelian, who's 18 feet tall in his energetic form, appears standing on that circular white disc down the middle of all this to address everyone. And he does this because he has a big metallic book under his arm. It says the Sere's Agenda on it. Same title as the book I published on Earth, but this is under his arm. And it's emitting a certain pulsing energy field out into the chamber that is very uplifting and beneficial to everyone there. It imparts through the hue the understanding of what this new ray is and what it's meant to do in creation to change the way the lower dimensions are run for the first time. That's what this experience is for. You'll feel this energy kind of lifting you up. Now you're going to experience yourself being a spherical energy hovering above this energetic form of a body. And this energy is going to come into your sphere and kind of light it up. And then it's going to be projected back to Earth and down into the top of your head or your body, wherever you are, and out into the planet, around the planet, to the pyramids that are on the planet, and then out into space. Continue to let it run, because it is a form of protection and a form of guidance. It's part of the omnipresent you, the wisdom of the source itself, and we live and move and have our being in this energy. Turelian is raising the book up above his head, and then it vanishes. Lowers his hands, and then he turns into a sphere of light before your eyes and moves outside the dome, and so do we. Telepathically send greetings and gratitude to the beings that allowed us to meet with them and who were also cheerfully grateful to meet with us, all the way from Earth. You're going to be floating above the atmosphere of this planet as a group around Turelian. And then he and I are going to simply point toward home. You're going to find us hovering above planet Earth. Many thousands of light years away from this planet we just visited. And you can see there's polar ice caps. Turelian is saying that he will assist us if we give him permission to do that. And then find yourself hovering above your physical body on Earth. Don't get into it. Be above the physical body that's resting in the trance state we call sleep. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So people got to go on another journey I didn't expect. I wasn't going to go to that central planet, but apparently Turelian wanted people to at least experience what it's like to get around the universe and to see and know things, even if they have no confidence with it yet. At some point in their lives, one thing is for certain. They will recall this experience and remember it, and they'll know that it is real. But it needs to be their experience in their own time, not my words, not my guidance, but their own recovery of direct knowing perception. It's important. So I guess that's complete this journey. There's a million other places we could go, but it's important to get some kind of grounding for people here, some distance from here, the physical universe, and back to Earth, and that kind of thing. Because going into the higher dimensions is a whole nother ballgame. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much, Scott, for today. See you next time.
Okay. I guess I'll sign off and send you the recording.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'll send everybody the hue and best wishes for recovering all they once knew. Bye for now.
Bye.